This cedar strip canoe took my Uncle Jeff about 1,400 hours over the course of 2 years to build. This June, we took it into the Boundary Waters. It had been on the water before, but this was its first real multi-day trip into canoe country. Jeff's first canoe trip was with my dad in 1973. He was 16. We both remember the crazy amounts of gear, coolers, and the big blue canvas tent that my dad was so fond of. I know my dad wanted to introduce us to the great outdoors, but I'm pretty sure he also needed us to help schlep all that gear over the portages. There were other trips over the years, with each other and with other groups, but our last trip together was 1999, just a week before a massive storm would devastate tens of thousands of acres in the Boundary Waters. 27 years later, we were back out there, this time in a canoe he'd spent 2 years building. Jeff had wanted to build a cedar strip canoe for years. In 2016, he and Sherry took a canoe building class at North House Folk School in Grand Marais, taught by Ken Kosick. Ken recommended a Bear Mountain Boats prospector design, and Jeff had owned a copy of Ted Moore's canoe craft book for years already. Between the book, the class, and Ken's recommendation, that was the canoe he ended up building. He started in 2020 and finished in 2022. 2 years, roughly 1,400 hours. Looking through the build photos, you can watch it slowly become a canoe. Strong back and forms first, cedar strips, a lot of sanding, fiberglass, epoxy, more sanding. Jeff told me one of the hardest jobs was smoothing the inside of the hull. Hours leaning over the boat, scraping and shaping cedar, the kind of work nobody notices once it's finished. Getting the forms right at the start mattered more than anything, since if those were off, everything after them would be too. Sherry was a big part of it. She'd taken the North House class with Jeff and helped through the whole build. And when it came time to fiberglass the hull, having a second person wasn't optional. One of them mixed epoxy while the other worked to keep a wet edge moving across the cloth before it's set up. Eventually, all of that became this. It's a Bear Mountain Prospector and weighs about 70 pounds. That turned out to be one of the most common questions on the trip right after, "Did you build that?" And people seemed surprised by the answer. Heavier than a modern Kevlar canoe for sure, but not far off from the old aluminum boats a lot of us learned on. People noticed the canoe everywhere we went. Somebody would ask about it in almost every conversation, and once they found out Jeff had built it himself, there were usually a few more questions after that. I liked those conversations. I got to point at Jeff and tell them, yeah, he built it. I'm sure it was nice for him to have his hard work appreciated. We launched at Quetico and headed for Lake Polly. There were more beaver dams on the route than I expected, and getting over and around them took a little creativity. The canoe didn't seem to mind any of it. Whatever worry I had about treating the canoe like a showpiece disappeared pretty fast. It got loaded with gear, dragged over beaver dams, and carried across portages, picking up plenty of scratches and character along the way. Once we made it to Polly, we found a nice campsite on a small island toward the north end of the lake and got set up. Unlike some of the big mile trips of years past, this was going to be a base camp and day trip situation, so we could take a little more time and get things sorted out to settle in for a few days. Most of the trip was pretty ordinary, which is usually what I like about these trips. Coffee in the morning, a little rain, actually a fair bit of rain. Fishing, exploring, talking about old trips, watching the weather move through. A typical day would involve getting up with, or more likely before, the sun, since we're both early risers, and getting the coffee going while sorting through the plans for the day. Backcountry bacon and egg cheese breakfast burritos were our go-to morning meal. After breakfast cleanup and maybe one more or two more cups of coffee, we loaded the fishing gear and some snacks and paddled off to the destination of the day. There are several small lakes within day paddle distance, and to be honest, the fish weren't jumping in the boat no matter where we went. It's always fun to explore, even if that means a short portage around a small rapids or two. We didn't see any moose, but we did see signs of them. We did almost entirely catch and release fishing, but would keep and eat one or two. Many things have changed since our last canoe trip, mostly us. We were 32 and 42 years old back then, you can do the math. Mileages are a little lower, pace is a little slower, portages feel maybe a bit tougher, and camp chairs are more of a necessity now than a luxury. But the fundamental core is still there. Unplugging in an increasingly chaotic and hyper-plugged-in world, experiencing the beauty and value of these wild places while we still can, and reconnecting with a part of ourselves that too easily and too often gets subconsciously layered over with the busyness of day-to-day life. Something Jeff said when I asked him about the canoe stuck with me. After 38 years behind a desk, he wanted to build something he could be proud of. I'd say mission accomplished. When I asked Jeff what he pictured while he was building it, he said he always imagined taking it into the boundary waters on trips like this. For me, it was just good to be back out there with him. Our last trip together was 27 years ago. We're already making plans for the next one. If you have memories of favorite canoe trips you've taken in the past, I'd love to read about them in the comments. Thanks for coming along.